Hi everyone, I'm Ben Pennyman, and this is another On the Job. And today, I'm on the job with Peter Hauschulz, right?
Yep.
And Peter, you're a shelving aide with the library, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah, we kind of talked about off camera, you guys may be changing titles because of reclassifications. It may be something else, is that right?
Yeah, it's going to be materials handler as far as I understand.
Okay.
So,
Great.
We handle the materials.
So we're actually here on the job with you. We're trying to be a little bit quiet because we're actually in the library, but we're starting out like where these books are, right? Because what I think is really interesting is that you always see like where books are on the shelf, but you never really know how they get there. So that's a part of your role, is that right?
Yes.
About the process?
Yep. We're kind of, I guess our main role is really facilitating that cycle, and really like any process that is a cycle. The book starts on the shelf, it makes a journey out to someone's living room, someone's bed, someone's couch, whatever, hopefully a little bit into their mind, and then it makes its way back, and we kind of make sure that takes place in the proper way.
So anybody in the community comes to the library, they grab a book off the shelf like you just did there, kind of talk about that process of going from checkout to coming back to being on the shelf, because that's what we're here to talk about.
Right, and well, there's actually two methods it kind of comes back, because you get people who don't even check it out. They'll take it off the shelf and read it, and then leave it on a table, or they got their knowledge, they were here, don't need to take it back with them.
Right.
And so there's a process to sweep it up and kind of put it back, and that's similar to checking it in.
Okay.
They'll bring it back, they'll throw it in a drop outside down the chute, which I'll show you guys in a second.
Okay.
And then we got this handy barcode right here, and that's kind of what electronically tracks these books, who it was out to, when it was out to, when it's come back, and we kind of facilitate that, make sure it's being tracked properly, just for our own numbers' sake, really.
So we've made our way outside, which is how a lot of people interact with the library. They get their book off the shelf, and then they come to return it, right? So
Right.
How does that work? What is this that we're looking at here?
So what we're looking at here, this is the new book drop, where before we just had a big hole in the wall, people could throw things in there and just fall into the basement. And we got a new high-tech system just installed a month ago, and so this is their new interaction right here.
Okay.
It
looks like it's all touchscreen and all that stuff. Wow,
oh yeah,
awesome.
Yeah. This is the T2000 of book drops. hopefully a little friendlier in the end, but yeah. So first, you got to hit the little button there, and we've got a little green go light on the bottom, and you just put them in one at a time.
And it just takes it down, it automatically scans it, and
Yes,
all of that.
It's actually checking it in right there. It'll send it down here, drop it down the chute. It's got a little traffic management system, actually, because there's an inside book drop, which is in the construction right now. Books get going to like Mach 9, coming down here, get all full of themselves, so it's kind of brings them back down to size. Then they get on the other conveyor belt, and they're ready for organization. And these wheels, what's clever about this machine is that it can dump books in either direction based on what type it is. So it's all computer based, it's a real smart system, and that's how it's kind of gauging what's going on.
We're actually in the basement of the library,
Right.
Which most people probably didn't know existed, because I didn't have any idea this existed.
I didn't until I started working here. So
Yeah. So this is where you guys have like all the books being processed to kind of go back on the shelves? Is that kind of what it's like?
Yeah, this is our fundamental organization right here. Is each section gets its own cart.
So we saw the book go in the book drop up there. Where does that come down?
Well, it comes down at the end here. We had the old machine that would bring it all the way out, and it was loud, and steam would shoot out of it, and flames.
And I've heard stories about that machine. It was actually kind of dangerous. The books would be flying out from time to time. It wasn't very efficient. Is that right? Is that true?
It kind of deteriorated over the years. So, I mean, I think it was afraid of me, so I never had any problems with it.
Okay, gotcha. But we went from that to this.
Yeah, it scans it at the top, and so then it knows what type of book it is, like those carts you saw back over there. It's a kid's book, nonfiction, fiction, and each one of these bins is a separate one. And when it registers that it's made it to that point, it'll dump it off in the appropriate area.
So then when it goes from here, it goes into those shelving areas, and it makes its way back to the floor, and then someone else has the opportunity to check something out.
Yep.
Awesome. So we've seen the full cycle of a book in its life and heard about what you do. And I know the library does a lot that people really don't even have an idea of what happens. And it's not just the books, it's the movies, and it's the interactive centers that you guys have for teens and stuff like that. So, I appreciate you taking the time to show me the behind the scenes look at main library in Boulder. So,
Yeah, thank you. No, it's a good time.
thanks for hanging out with me.
Absolutely.
All right.